Morning. So, this past week I was able to go to the ambassador's residence in Lilongwe, like I mentioned last week, for a 4th of July celebration. And it was incredible. While I was traveling there, I got to pick up a new suit Mizuzu from a pile. I think pretty much everyone's seen my picture on Facebook by now. It cost me 12,000 kwacha, which is about 16 US dollars equivalent. So I think I did pretty well for the price. Now, I usually love schmoozing and networking stuff, but I'll be honest, showing up at this ambassador's house, it was a lot more high class than stuff I'm used to. There were a lot of big shots there, big shot diplomats, both from Malawi and the US, and I was pretty intimidated. Oh, hey, Jana. Hey, Jana. If you can't see it in frame, my dog just showed up. Hey, girl. Go lay down. Go down. Go. Go. Go lay down. Ugh. But yeah, so I was very intimidated first when I first got there. We showed up at the front gate and I was like, oh, this is a big one. Oh, this is big. But then as the night went on, after the Charge d'Affaires, I believe it's called, because we don't have an ambassador right now. After the Charge d'Affaires gave his remarks, and after the ambassador of Malawi to America gave their remarks, things started to lighten up a lot, and it turned out being a very fun evening. And we didn't stay the entire night, but I definitely could have stayed long into the night. Everyone was having a great time. The Charge d'Affaires said it was one of the more successful events they've had recently. And judging from what I saw, I couldn't agree more. Unfortunately, we did have to leave Lilongwe very soon after the event. And by very soon, I mean I had to travel, I think it's roughly 500 kilometers in the next day, straight from Lilongwe back to my site. So that was a fun time. But I was able to get most things done in Lilongwe that I set out to do. I got a new pillow. My old pillows that I bought about this time last year, I now have to fold in half and stack up too high. So that's 4 layers of pillow in order for my neck not to be bent laying down. So I splurged in the Lilongwe in the capital on a new what's it called? Memory foam pillow. My cat's being real dumb. Splurged on a new memory foam pillow, and it has really been worth the high amount of kwacha that it cost to get it. I also got some new protein powder so I can finally stop losing weight. I don't think everyone knows, but when I arrived here in Malawi last June, I was weighing in at around 245-ish pounds. Now I'm 165. 165 to 170 is where I'm hovering. And when I left the States, I said that I was going to start worrying about my weight once I crossed 180. And I blew past that before I was even able to weigh myself. So I got some more protein powder, helped myself stop losing weight. And then, that's it personally. Work-wise, yesterday, me and Simcoco, my main Malawian counterpart, sat down and made our work plan for July. And next week, I'm going to be meeting with some wildlife clubs with the local schools, primary and secondary. So primary schools here in Malawi, and I think in the UK as well, are the equivalent of elementary and middle school combined. And then you have secondary school, which is what we call high school back in the States. So I'm going to be meeting with the wildlife clubs of a couple primary and secondary schools. They're about to end their term and go on summer break. However, I'm trying to get an idea from them what quantity of materials we're going to need for establishing tree nurseries as soon as they get back, I think in the beginning of September. I'm also going to start meeting with lead farmers. I've started getting names from the different natural resource committees for lead farmers. So I'm going to start meeting with them at their land plots to determine what kind of practices would be good to implement there, and then develop a plan with them. So I know in the last video I mentioned that I would hopefully start talking about, general news in Malawi. Unfortunately, the news in Malawi right now is still pretty political. And again, I'm not touching that with 39.5 football. But unfortunately, various issues have led to travel being restricted in country for volunteers. So it's becoming increasingly unlikely that I'm going to be able to travel down to Mount Malanje to do the Porter's Race in next week. Which is really unfortunate because since I started training about 3 weeks ago, I've been running more than I ever have in my life. I've been putting in about 20 to 30-ish miles of running a week, which, that was unthinkable to me just a short time ago. And my body's been thanking me for it. Besides that infection and that fever that I had just before the last video, I have been feeling the healthiest I have in my life. My body's been thanking me for the training, and I'm going to keep at it, even if I don't get to do the Porter's Race. So yeah, I'm just going to keep grinding at it, whether I get to do the race or not. Shoot, I might even try to do like an imitation race if it doesn't work out. We'll see. All right. I think that just about covers it for this week. See you next week.